At 9:27 a.m. on December 13, 1943, 2nd Lieutenant Philip Adair pulled his Curtiss P-40N Warhawk into a climbing turn above Assam, India, just as 64 Japanese aircraft appeared through the morning haze 3 miles to the east, flying straight toward Denjan airfield. Adair, only 23 years old, had already flown 43 combat missions with the 89th Fighter Squadron, escorting the Hump transport route. But at this moment he was the only American pilot in the air when the huge formation showed up. During the previous 8 weeks, Japanese air raids across northeast India had wiped out 47 Allied transport aircraft on the ground and killed 112 personnel. His Warhawk, nicknamed Lulu Bell, number 44, carried 650 caliber Browning machine guns with ammunition for roughly 12 seconds of continuous firing. The Japanese force included 24 Mitsubishi Ki-21 Sally bombers, protected by nearly 40 Nakajima Ki-43 Oscar fighters stacked at several altitudes around the formation. Intelligence from Burma suggested that raids of this size often achieved 90% bombing accuracy if unchallenged. Down below at Denjan, the field contained 14 C-47 transports loaded with critical supplies for Chiang Kai-shek, a field hospital caring for 63 wounded troops, 11 days of fuel stockpiled for Hump operations. If the bombers reached the airfield without interference, the damage would cripple Allied supply chains over the Himalayas for weeks. The nearest friendly fighters were 38 minutes away at Jorhat. Adair glanced at his fuel. Full internal tanks, 180 gallons, giving him about 90 minutes at combat power. The enemy formation, moving at 240 meters, was 3,000 feet below him and heading directly for Denjan. Standard doctrine said that a pilot outnumbered more than 5-1 should avoid attacking until support arrived. Adair faced 64-1 odds. He could call for reinforcements and shadow the Japanese until help arrived, but by then, the bombs would already be falling. His other choice: attack alone, disrupt the bombing run, and hope to break their accuracy. He shoved his throttle forward. The Allison V-1710 roared as manifold pressure climbed to 54 inches. The P-40 surged to 320 meters. He climbed, took position 4,000 feet above the bombers, and approached from the south with the sun at his back. None of the Oscars had spotted him yet. They were focused on the target ahead. He had one advantage: surprise. The Japanese expected interception near the airfield, not 20 miles out. Adair decided on his attack. Hit the lead bomber formation first. Ignore the fighters. Break their aim. Scatter them. Force and abort. Could one P-40 scatter 64 Japanese aircraft? He rolled inverted, dove from their 7 o'clock high, and his speed climbed quickly. 360 meters, 380. The bombers still hadn't noticed him. At 800 yards, he opened fire. 650 cals thundered, sending bright tracers into the lead. Sally. Rounds ripped through its left wing, flames burst from the port engine, and smoke poured out. The formation shattered instantly. Bombers peeling left and right. Adair pulled up under 7 Gs, rolled right, and saw 40 Oscars diving toward him. The Ki-43. Oscar was one of the most maneuverable fighters in the Pacific. It could hit 329 chiminusuri, turn impossibly tight, and use its butterfly flaps to pivot in ways American fighters couldn't match. Over the past 6 months, Oscars had destroyed 63 Allied fighters in the Burma-India theater. The P-40 was faster in a dive, but lost badly in a turning fight. Standard tactics were simple: don't turn with an Oscar. Hit, run, extend, and reset. But Adair couldn't extend. If he ran, the bombers would regroup and hit Denjan, so he had to keep attacking, no matter how many fighters came for him. 4 Oscars came from his 10 o'clock high. He rolled left, raised his nose, and fired a 2-second burst. Missed. They broke away. 2 more Dove. He climbed toward them, fired again. Still no hits. His ammo counter showed 800 rounds left, about 6 more good attacks. Behind the fighters, the bombers were trying to reform. 3 6-plane groups were regaining formation. He had 90 seconds before they reached bombing release. He dove again. 8 Oscars followed, but the P-40 hit 405 MEMF, opening a gap. He lined up on the right-hand Sally group at 300 yards, fired, and blew the right engine off the lead bomber in a fireball. Another burst shredded a second Sally. These older 1936-era machines had no armor and thin skin. 12 Oscars closed in. His fuel showed 162 gallons. Ammo down to 650 rounds. The bombers were 19 miles from Denjan. 4 minutes until drop range. Then, his engine overheated. The coolant gauge passed 230 degree. Normal was 210. At 250, the engine would fail. He had been at full power for 11 minutes. 3 options: reduce power and cool, break off the attack, keep fighting and risk total engine failure. The bombers were still closing. Adair kept the throttle forward. 2 Oscars made a head-on pass. Closing speed, 600 plus. If they fired first, he fired back. His 50 cals ripped into 1 Oscar's cowling, forcing it out of the fight. He rolled right and dove again. Coolant temp, 240 degree. Bombers, 15 miles out. 2 Sally formations regained perfect V formation. A third was scattered. He dove at the lead group again. 6 Oscars tried to intercept, but he blew past them at 390-minute teams. At bomber altitude, his burst tore off an entire wing panel from the lead plane. The Sally spiraled down with no parachutes. The formations broke again. Bombing accuracy destroyed. Their bombs, if dropped now, would scatter across miles of jungle. Coolant temp, 248 degums. Engine vibrating. Detonation starting. 40 fighters still hunting him. Then enemy rounds hit him. His right wing shredded. His aileron control rod damaged. Controls mushy. More rounds hit the cowling. 1 shot ruptured his coolant tank, spraying green coolant across the windshield. Engine temperature, 260 degrees. Steam everywhere. Oil pressure dropping. Engine beginning to fail. He chopped throttle to save it. The P-40 sank. 1,000 door Eftemin. Then 1,500. Oscars circled overhead, waiting. Then the engine caught fire. Standard procedure, shut down and bail out. But he was at 8,000 feet, 12 miles from friendly lines, over jungle full of Japanese patrols. He kept it running. He leaned the fuel mixture, fire reduced, pushed mixture forward. Engine coughed, then ran at 60% power. He was now flying home on a burning, dying engine. The bombers turned back. The raid was broken. Denjan was saved. Adair turned toward Naguli, 43 miles away. 6 Oscars followed him but didn't fire. They waited for his engine to die. Oil pressure hit 0. Engine vibration increased. Propeller windmilled unevenly. A Japanese pilot pulled alongside, signaling him to surrender. Adair ignored him. Smoke filled the cockpit from damaged wiring. He slid the canopy open. Breathing became difficult. At 4,000 FT, his right aileron cable snapped. The plane rolled right, nose dropped. He had no pitch control. The P-40 plunged toward the jungle. At 1,800 OLEFT, he realized something. If he rolled inverted, the damaged controls would reverse. The stuck elevator would lift the nose. The broken aileron would correct the roll. He rolled the P-40 upside down. Negative G slammed him into the straps. The engine sputtered but stayed alive. The nose came up. He leveled at 1,200 FT, upside down. He began a cycle. Inverted, climb, upright, fuel flows. Repeat. The Oscars watched in disbelief. Eventually they gave up and left. Adair continued the insane, inverted, upright cycle toward Naguli. Fuel, 83 gallons. Oil pressure, 0 for 9 minutes. Coolant gauge broken from heat. Engine somehow still running. Finally, he saw Naguli. But one more problem. Landing gear were hydraulic, and the dying engine couldn't power the pump. He tried lowering the gear. Nothing. Backup, hand pump, 28 strokes. But he needed both hands. He tied the control stick with his lap belt, grabbed the pump with both hands, and pumped. 23 strokes. Pressure building. 28 strokes. Gear locked down.